Cool. Okay, we'll get started. My name is Jim Nicely. I'm a solution architect at Vertica, Micro Focus. Been working with Vertica since 2016. Thanks for coming to our session. I'm going to introduce Dr. Lynn Dye. I've been working with her for 4 years now. She's a director at BJC, Barnes-Jewish Hospital in St. Louis. And she's going to share her journey of how she's using Vertica and Tableau at the hospital. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Okay, a show of hand if you are in healthcare. If you are in healthcare. All right, wonderful. We are at Barnes-Jewish Hospital, a 16-hospital system of BJC Healthcare in St. Louis, Missouri. Our mission is to take exceptional care of the people. In doing that, we need to have the right strategies and the technology to support our mission. We have, in the next 30 minutes, we have the privilege to share with you what we do. In 1902, the hospital was founded. In 1914, Barnes-Jewish Hospital is founded. In 1996, the merger of the Barnes-Jewish Hospital created BJC Healthcare. Today, we have 16 hospitals in Missouri and Illinois. We also have Washington Medicine Medical School. And then at Barnes-Jewish Hospital, let's focus on my team. Is a very small team. We support at Barnes-Jewish Hospital, which have 9,000 employees. And our team, we grow as we move out in our journey. Okay, this is our journey. Actually, your journey. As we grow from a one cell to over 1 trillion, 37 trillion cells of our body, we grow into the amazing human being. From day one, we learn how to crawl and we walk and we put one step in front of the other. It required millions and millions of nerve cells that your body need to figure this out. And you did it in your brain somehow. That's why we use this analogy to describe our journey. We crawl. At first, when we crawl, we look at all the static dashboard and KBI and regular BI. The data was silos, very low speed, and then smaller data set. As we grow into when we walk, we acquire even more data, and now we provided live data, some automations, then we ran. At that stage, we have big data. With the big data, the high performance of the data is required, and we gain more acceptance in the organization, and my team expand. How we crawl. Today, we already developed and finished over 1,600, not 600, 1,600 standardized reports, dashboard, data governance, TrueDAO capabilities, down to the charge, employees level. The data is refreshed daily, weekly, by shift, by month. The result that we have started monthly dashboard. These are what we have in our centralized deposit. These information are fully 100% automated in our organization to support HR, labor, throughput, supply, revenue cycle, you name it. Then we walk. We begin pushing information to the user. How we do that? Hundreds of thousands of messages we send out to the user because they said, push it to me. I don't want to go to the website and pull the report myself. That's how we do. The information sent out by daily, by shift, 15 minutes, every hour, we send it out to the people. How we ran. This is one of the latest journey that we went into last year when we acquired newer technologies. At this time, I brought in a software engineer and we brought in a data scientist. Original, we had only original DBA for SQL Server or Oracle, but then we brought in software engineering and we brought in data scientists to expand our team into this step. For this step, I want to share with you one of the projects that we recently finished, the labor project. It took us 10 weeks to finish this project. The goal is that daily, 6 times a day, we send information to the nurse manager in all inpatient units. And the nurse manager that have a few minutes to review the information and respond it back if he or she has a few hours over budget. Just a few hours over budget, they need to respond and how they are going to plan to do the staffing for the next shift so that they go back into the budget. This is how we do. This is Tableau. The front end you see is Tableau, and we use API Tableau. And then the big data behind the scenes, that the data in raw data. It has no data modeling, it has no KPI, it has no metrics. Everything is in raw data. We can tell who's coming early, who stay late, who has canceled meal, and the manager can know exactly why he or she is over budget. The beauty about this, the information that we collect give us more insights into the next shift, the next day, the next week, the next month, and the next quarter. We already know ahead of time. So these are the beauty of the journey that we do. We collect good information behind the scenes. The upper management, like vice president or the president, have all roll up timely, daily, weekly, all the information they need by the departments, who's in red, where's the problem, down to employee level, down to the shift and positions and schedules. So we have that detailed information today. I'm here today I'm very proud to share with you how we are leaping today. All the things that I just described to you already in the past. We are at this stage today. We no longer want to look at historical data, static report. We are looking into ahead of time. One of the 2 projects we are going to share with you today is the business decision support. Business decision support is one of the largest projects that my team ingests the data in. 500 million rows, 800 columns, without any problem at all. And we house the data for all 16 hospitals, not just one hospital. In 2 months, we did a proof of concept. In 2 months, we push it to production. My team be able to integrate the data from large hospital information like finance, EMR, revenue cycle at BJC Healthcare, integrate the data, push into Vertica, and we put Tableau right on top. The beauty of it is we do not extract Tableau data at all. Tableau point directly to Vertica raw data. No modeling, no transformation, they all raw data down to the charge level. One example, if the patient get charged with an aspirin or Tylenol, it's there. So a patient could have 100,000 rows or 2 million rows if he or she stay there for a year. So we go down row and we go expand this way for 800 columns. The question is, if you don't have a fast database engine, you cannot do it. So that's the important things. The result is that we achieved this project so well, so now we are asked to continue on the second project in our journey now. When I get back this time, we will take up and expand the labor costs that I just shared with you earlier. And that's our next step. Now let me turn it back to Mike and Jim. They will share with you how we utilize the technology to finish the project that we just did.
So to support the business decision support, we need a very scalable, strong performance database at the back end. See from here, you can see our report. They have over 570 columns, and it's a very resource-intensive reports. And our reports join over 12 tables together, and each table is very large. And it takes a long time to run. From here, you can see it's a CPU, memory, IO, very intensive reports. So we decided to choose scalable, high-performance Vertica database for our support of our back-end database support. So now I transfer to Jim. Is this one?
Hi, everyone. So basically, I'm going to go back a little bit here. So Mike talked about some of the technical hurdles they had to surpass. The first one here is the wide tables. So Vertica is a columnar database, meaning that, well, we're not a row store. So each column is stored individually on disk. So having wide tables, super wide tables, isn't a big issue with Vertica. That's a great feature. And we also have a feature called flattened tables. So you could have a wide table like this, but you could have columns in your tables that are defined as a select statement from a dimension table, perhaps. So instead of having to do these joins, that'll eliminate all these joins, because now I'll have a fact table at the top, and then instead of this join now, I'm actually going to have the column values in the flattened table, and they're stored in line with the data, so it's super fast. And it also, the memory requirement goes way down, and the disk I/O goes way down. As far as CPU and memory and I/O, that's all controllable in Vertica, which is a great feature. Most databases, you basically just get all the resources. Within Vertica, you have something called resource management. So by query or by user, I could tell how much CPU is available, how much memory is available, and how much I/O I can give that particular user. So you never have runaway queries in Vertica. It's a great feature. You can also have cascading resource pools in Vertica. So typically, use case for the dashboard that Lynn was using, she would have a fast resource pool set up, meaning that a query that runs in 2 seconds is going to get a ton of resources. And then if a query runs longer than 2 seconds, it simply cascades down to a smaller resource pool that has less resources, so that no query is going to take up the entire resource of the cluster. So here, I'm not sure if you guys even heard of Vertica, but Vertica, I started with Vertica in 2011. I'm sorry, 2015, but I started working with Vertica in 2011 as a customer in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at a health system. I'll have a story about that in a second. But basically, this is an overview of the Vertica Data Analytics Engine. And that's the key term there. We're an analytics engine. We're not really a transaction database. We're built for analytics. So basically, there's we're a standard SQL database. So if you know SQL, if you know Oracle, you can learn Vertica very fast because we're ANSI SQL compliant. We have native high availability, meaning that we're a cluster of nodes. So you can have a node go down, the database will stay up. We're column orientation, like I said before. We're not, that's Michael Stonebreaker. He's the guy who invented Vertica back in 2006. He actually invented Postgres and egress, but Vertica was the first columnar database to go into sales. And underneath, we also have a database design tool. So if you're used to an Oracle database, I'm not sure how technical you guys are, but you don't have to create indexes in Vertica. There's automatic design. It'll go out and check your queries for you and build a design for you that's tuned for your particular queries. This is a cool feature here. So as your data grows, our compression ratio on disk is between 50 and 90%, so you actually store a lot less data. And again, we're an MPP database. So the reason the queries are running so fast for Lynn is because we are an MPP database. We're distributed. So as you run queries, it's distributed across the cluster. And that cluster can grow as your data size grows. And this is, I want to point out here, Lynn, she's talking about leaping now. She's looking at predictive analytics. So Vertica has built into it all these different algorithms. And there's a whole bunch of other cool features too, but I just wanted to say that these are all SQL functions. So I'll tell a story. When I first started working with Vertica, it was 2011, and I was working at a health system in Pittsburgh, and they wanted to predict readmissions. So we got a whole team together, and we did our own algorithm, and we built it in the database in Vertica as database views, and we had big, gigantic case statements, literally 1,000 lines long, going through all these different iterations of why a patient could be readmitted. And we got really good at it. We were pretty happy with ourselves, and because Vertica was so fast, it could actually compute that, and we sold that product to multiple hospitals. But like a couple years later, when I started working at Vertica, we started building in this functionality. So now all those thousands of lines of code I did are now one line of code. It's one function in Vertica. It's linear. You can do linear regression to predict readmissions. And the cool thing about Vertica is with that linear regression, we're unlimited on the variables I can pass into that. So for me, I was coding it by hand, all these different columns to try to produce readmissions. But now I go back to the same data set I have and do it in one line. It's like kind of embarrassing, but it's so much easier now. But in addition to these particular, so basically this is when you're doing machine learning, this is like a path you're going to follow. So Vertica has a whole bunch of data prep functions in there too. So basically, I don't want to go too technical, but I think that's. So Tableau on Vertica, why is it so fast? Is because of the reasons I said. I do a lot of POCs for clients, and Vertica, Tableau, 60% of our customers are actually using Tableau because Vertica is so fast and able to return the data quickly. And we have a seamless integration with Tableau. Actually, we work with them to build the drivers. So what Lynn saw, her queries now run 10 to 50 times faster when she went from Oracle into Vertica. And here, this is what I'm talking about, the compression ratios. Lynn saw between 10 and 30 times more data she can put on the server, so she got saving the cost there. So I'll go back to Lynn.
Okay. With the right technologies, we are now leaping into the future with even better solutions. We recently acquired IDO. IDO came from the same company with Vertica product. With IDO, we would be able to predict the nodes who's going to turn over. One example in the past, you create a report and dashboard and generated turnover rate. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to provide HR information about which group of nodes in which department, potential 70% of time, the chance of that nodes will leave the organization. So we reach out to the manager in the nodes and try to understand the reason, what can we do better to keep the nodes? One of those projects that we recently done. With this product right here, I would like to share with you the subset project in the ED that we finished as well. With the ED project, with IDO, IM machine language that can predict which patient will potentially have sepsis. Some even before our physician and clinician recognize it. This is a Tableau in front. And we have, this is a real product that we have, Tableau API, raw data in the EMR from the ED, behind the scenes, raw data down to the patient chart level with structures and unstructured data, with the notes and the orders, all the language, natural language is there. The software read it, and based on, we continue to teach IDO. At first, when we set out on this journey, we predict wrong, like let's say 50% of time, because we need to teach the product how to use it. And we continue to feed it every time we predict someone wrong, and the physician come back and point out this is right and this is wrong. And we feed that information, continue back to IDO. And today IDO is very accurate for us, and that's a journey that we continue to do. Today in our journey, we don't want to look back at status report anymore. We would like to have something that now, if you are over budget, do something about it. The nurse manager doesn't want to go look at the report on the website. They don't have time. They want us to tell them exactly what they need to do and what's wrong. Then they do it. That's the solution we would like to do. The second solution we would like to do is things ahead of time. Every morning we send out the census report. We have a very comprehensive report to tell the entire group in the hospital, from the case manager, social worker, to the director, VP, president, down to the chief, the resident, of how we are doing with throughput. Try to discharge the patient on time, which group, which patient need to go home today. More than that, We even predict the census of the next day and 5 days ahead of us, so then we can prepare staffing, supplies, and also control our labor a little bit. So those are the things that we do today already. Now, we cannot do that without a good technology behind the scenes. So I urge you from today, from your journey, have a good balance, have a quick response time, and also have a good coordination. That's all you need to do, and that skills, every one of us have it. You already have that skill in your journey. Use it. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for attending. If you have any questions about Vertica, you can stop by our booth over there, 1514. I'll be happy to answer any questions about what I did with Vertica too at the hospital I worked at. Thank you very much.